Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So, today I am ranking all the Toy Story movies from Toy Story 1, 1995 to Toy Story 5, 2016. I am very excited to do this. I've been waiting a long time to do this. I didn't do it when Toy Story 4 came out. I didn't do it when Lightyear came out, even though I was planning to do it when Lightyear came out. So this will be the first time that I'm doing it. I am not including this ranking anyway, Buzz Lightyear, Star Command, or Lightyear. But if I do this in the future, if we get Toy Story 6 or we get something to do with Toy Story down the line, I will include those. But at the moment, it's legit. I am just doing the mainstream films. So at number 5, I have Toy Story 2. Now, don't get me wrong, I love all these movies. There's not a single bad Toy Story movie. Toy Story 2 for me, I love learning about Woody's Roundup and how the story of Toy Story 2 of how basically it's about Woody kind of realizing the fact that like Andy's going to grow up with or without him, how it's his choice to stay with Jesse, Stinky Pete and Bullseye to get locked up in the museum, or to go back with Buzz, Rex, Slinky, Ham and Potato Head back to Andy's place. And the fact that this movie is this good is shocking, because it did not go, it was meant to be straight to video, how they do like the Lion King 2 and the Aladdin 2s and that type of stuff. So the fact that they had many things fuck up, especially when you have like the original Toy Story 2, someone accidentally deleted the stuff on the server and all the files started wiping, and then they were just like, oh, we need to reanimate it. So the fact that they pulled this off, really, really impressive that Pixar was able to pull this off and make a great sequel to one of the best animated movies of all time. Coming in number 4, I have the new release Toy Story 5. I actually really loved this movie. I saw it the second time yesterday, and God, like, when I watch that movie, I'm just like, how does this movie, like, exist? Because it tackles a subject so well that it's important for kids and adults to tackle. And the fact that you have the Toys vs. Tech angle while also having the Jesse storyline in here is very, very well done. And, I love how basically, like the Tech, and the Zurg stuff and the Jesse stuff all kind of, at first, it feels like you're watching 3 different movies, where like the Tech and the Jesse story kind of are kind of merged together in the first half, and then like the stuff with the multiple Buzz Lightyears are kind of in another movie, but they all join together by the end and make one cohesive plot, which I think is very impressive. And I think that, like, it's crazy to me that this movie exists, because, like, and I do, like, after watching it last night, I did enjoy it more, but I will say, I can't have my nitpicks that you didn't really need to bring back Woody, because he had a perfect ending in 4, which we'll get to in a minute. And then, basically, you have, like, whole thing between Buzz and Jesse, which has been set up during 3, and I love how, basically, the lily pad basically becomes more of a villain that like realizes that she's done something wrong. And so it's interesting seeing how this movie has like the villain arc of like, oh, I'm doing what's good for Bonnie, and then she's like, oh, I screwed up, I didn't realize that these girls were wrong for Bonnie. So I thought that was very, very interesting, and I love how that basically came together within the movie. And I do think that the Army of Buzzers really worked. I love how basically they become like almost it's strange because they feel like they're in a completely different movie, but I think that it came together by the end. I was like, perfect. This like worked great, and I love how 5 is basically this whole story of like something that need to be tackled, of like kids can watch it and go like, oh, I'm playing with tech too much, and I need to start playing with toys. So it's one of those things where it was very, very interesting, and I loved seeing that story, and it was very, very important. At number 3, we have Toy Story 3. Yes, I would have thought that this would be number 2, but after this recent rewatch, I was like, nah. This movie is a very dark Toy Story movie. Which the other ones are all, they all have dark moments, but they are all very light-hearted and stuff for the most part. But Toy Story 3 is dark because like you have the Prison Break side, and so you get a lot of the typical Prison Break tropes, and then also you have the whole thing of Woody coming back and rescuing all the toys, and things like that. So it's very interesting seeing how Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending to the Andy story, which like, and I think that that's the point. Toy Story 3 is a great ending to Andy's story because the toys still live on. So we get to see what happens next. So like 1, 2, and 3 is like the end of the Andy book. You pick up the other book and it's the Bonnie book. And that's what 4, 5, and what 6 will be. And however many more they make. So I'm very interested to see like what, because like now Toy Story 5, and we'll get to this when we talk about 4, people have finally come around going like, oh, we can actually accept more Toy Stories, because it's not just about the kids that own the toys. It's also about the toys and their journeys. And also like this, but the thing is with the first 3 movies, especially Toy Story 3, 2, and 1, is that they're all the same story. They're all, one of them is lost, they need to go find that toy, they need to bring them home. So, and I think that like 4 and 5 have elements of that in there, but the whole story within the original trilogy is we need to get back home. Which 4 and 5 were able to go like, yeah, you know what, let's have that element of the story, but really let's turn this corner as opposed to keeping the straight line of let's do the same story. Which we'll talk about later when we get to 4. Coming in number 2, we have Toy Story 1. I love Toy Story 1. I was one of those people where like, every time I would re-watch it nowadays, I'll go like, it's probably the worst Toy Story movie, only because the animation's outdated. I still love it, but I don't love it as much as I did when I was a kid. But on this recent rewatch, I was quoting it as the movie went along. I was laughing, I was having fun. I really, really liked all of what we were getting with Toy Story 1. And it being the first animated feature movie is crazy. And this is the movie that, to be honest, made me want to work in the movie theater industry. Or the movie industry, not the movie theater industry. But I wanted to work at Pixar as a kid because I would watch all the behind the scenes of this movie. I would see Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, John Lasseter, and Lee Unkrich, and all the directors, producers, writers, like working together and figuring out like, I would see like how they would basically glue their shoes to a board and try and walk like Green Army Men, so they can try and figure out how to animate the Green Army Men in the movie. And I was like, well, I want to work there. That's so much fun. And then we realised that like, bit of a controversy with him nowadays, but then I realised that John Lasseter wasn't working there anymore, and I was like, oh, forget. And then I realised I couldn't draw, and I was like, I might be easier doing live action. So yeah, no, so I love Toy Story 1. It's a big impact on me, and I really love how Toy Story 1 is so important to me. And that's why the whole franchise is important to me, because of Toy Story 1, and I love that movie. It's so good. Coming in number 1, hot take, Toy Story 4. Toy Story 4 to me is, I've seen 3 of the Toy Story movies in the theatre. I've seen Toy Story 3, but I don't really remember. I remember seeing Toy Story 4 twice, and I remember seeing Toy Story 5, obviously because that's the more recent one. Toy Story 4 to me is a misunderstood movie, because the first 3 movies are pretty much the same story of, we need to get back to Andy. Toy Story 4 broke the chain of the we need to get back home story, and actually went from, we're going on a road trip, we need to get back home story, because we get that whole scene of Woody and Forky walking down the road, trying to get back to the caravan and stuff, but then it goes into, we need to find Bo Peep. And then it becomes a story of Woody. And what I love about this is that Woody has been the main character. Him and Buzz. So what I really love about Toy Story 4 is that, and even it shows you in 5 when Woody eventually shows back up again, it really shows you how much of a glue Woody is a integral part to the Toy Story franchise. So I really think that's one of those things where, like, you have the where, like, the Woody storyline, it's like, 4 is a great epilogue to Woody, and then how it's Woody's story, and like, I will not be surprised if this makes Toy Story 6 a Buzz movie, because we got, like, the whole Andy story through 1, 2, and 3, and then we got Woody's story in 4, and then Jesse's story in 5. 6 needs to be Buzz's story, like, but it needs to be a story that isn't just, because, like, they find new ways to do it, but it can't just be Buzz thinks that he's a space ranger, right? So, and I think that 4 has the most unique way of telling that story, of Buzz thinks that he's real. Because never throughout the original trilogy has he realized what an inner voice is. So, the fact that it's set up with him talking to Woody, going like, you want me to take the next one? And then Woody's like, no, I need to do this, my inner voice won't let me. My inner voice won't let me pass it up. And then he's like, and then Buzz is like, who do you think it is? And he's like, what? And it's like, inside of you, who do you think it is? It's like, me. And he's like, fascinating, as he's touching Woody's pull string at the back. That is, like, fascinating to me, because I'm like, it is hard to explain it in a voice. Like, if I was a toy, right, so if I was Woody here, how would I explain to Buzz what an inner voice is? Especially when I'm a toy and I speak. So, the fact that every time they presses one of his buttons,
well, whatever happens, at least we'll all be together.
Not necessarily that one, but he, I'm going to turn him off actually, but every time that he presses one of his buttons, he's like, no time to explain, let's move! And so he jumps out of the van and goes into the carnival. It's sick, and I love that, and then we get the most, like, hype moment for me when he's going into the carnival and then he's trying to look for the highway and he goes to the inner voice and he's like, so where do we go now, inner voice? And he's like, go straight ahead. And then, so basically he jumps on the ride that goes up and then he flies and everything. Sorry, it's weird I'm using a toy to explain. But, but he flies to the highway and another ride bumps him out, like takes him out, and that's hilarious to me. But the inner voice thing is actually a very interesting way of actually explaining the inner voice thing, and is a different twist on the Buzz thinks that he's real. Because in the first one, Buzz thought that he's actually real, and then you have like, but yeah, the second one you have him talking to himself, and then you have the third one where you have him being Spanish, but as Spanish, like he got switched from play to demo, and then when they try to resend him back, he goes into Spanish and stuff like that. And then it's not until the TV falls on him that he goes back to regular Buzz. So they have different ways of doing it, but I think I like the way that they did it with Buzz in that one because it was new. It wasn't just him, like, talking to himself or realizing that he's an actual space ranger, like, because the Buzz thinks that he's a real toy in 3 is very much like the one Buzz, the Buzz in Toy Story 1, when you watch them back to back. 2 is the only one that you're like, okay, that is interesting. Buzz talking to another version of himself, basically realizing that he was this delusional in the first one, and he even said, "Don't tell me that I was this delusional." But yeah, no. So I really like the Buzz thing in that, and I like Bo Peep. I love Bo Peep in 4 even more than Toy Story 1 and 2. I love the new characters. One of my problems with Toy Story 5 is that, and I talked about this in my non-spoiler review, is that the new characters, other than Lily Pad, I'm not a really big fan of. I mean, I like them more the second time, but like the Conan one, I wasn't a big fan of until like the second half of the movie, and he started being a bit more nice, and was less the poop jokes. So like, but at least like in Toy Story 4, I love Duke Kaboom. I love Bo Peep. I love Giggle McDimples. I love Ducky and Bunny. I love Gabby Gabby. Like, Gabby Gabby is such a misunderstood villain because she just basically wants to be played with. Basically, it's basically the Stinky Pete arc, but done differently. So then when she's eventually rejected by Harmony, you're like, you feel bad for her, which in Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 2, you just, like, even in Toy Story 1 with Sid and Stinky Pete and Lotso, you just hated them. Like, you understood where they were coming from, but they weren't like a Michael Keaton Vulture in Spider-Man Homecoming, where you understood why they were doing what they were doing, and that's it. So it was kind of one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I love what they're doing with Gabby Gabby here. I love what they're doing, and no one really understands that because of the way that, because everyone's like, oh, we're so used to the 3-act structure of the beginning, middle, and that's the trilogy. But 4 really showed me how you can easily like carry on this legacy, but not just go like, oh well, this thing should end at 3, so we're just going to do a lackluster story. No, it's a great story. I love exploring the characters in that way. I love Buzz in this one. Everyone just doesn't understand the Buzz storyline. I love 4. I think 4 is great. 4 I saw twice in theaters. I saw it once opening day with my family, and it was a packed theater too, unlike 5. And then a few weeks after that, I went with some friends during school because of the lesson that we were learning. We were learning about how to make movies and stuff, so we all went to Toy Story 4. So, yeah, I have lots of memories with Toy Story 4, happy memories that I'll always cherish, and no one will take that away from me. So, guys, I will be doing a tier list of all the Toy Story characters. I might do some more Toy Story videos, I might not, but we'll see. So guys, please hit the like button down below if you haven't already. Hit subscribe, press the little bell icon to get notified of future videos that I'll make. I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon.